Hello, my name is Edward Howard, and I'd like to talk a little bit about how I render faces in my work. There are so many techniques and methods for this, but of all the literature out there, I don't think there's really one holy grail technique. What you really have to do is just read as much as you can, try to find out what your favorite artists are doing and what their methods might be, and then come up with a sort of amalgam of techniques, a little bit from here, a little bit from here, put them all together, and what you'll have is a really solid technique that is unique to you. As you can see right now, we're breaking down the larger shapes. We're not worried about perfectly rendering these faces. We just want to find the range. Where are the darkest darks? Where are our lightest lights? Don't forget to squint. This really helps you lose the detail and focus more on the values. Once we have these values established, we can begin to focus more on a tighter rendering. Again, always check your measurements. It's incredibly difficult to see what's going on when you're in the thick of it, and things can fall out of proportion very easily. So always be double checking. I encourage you to always have a mirror by your side and check your work in that mirror. Using a mirror will really trick your brain into seeing the image in a whole new way, and it's amazing what you can find, the errors that will be glaring at you when you look in that mirror. As you can see, I've established my value range now. I've also added a little more alizarin to the flesh to bring more life to the flesh tones. I'm working detail into the eyes and the nose, concentrating on the eye placement of the figure on the left here. For me, it's incredibly difficult to make the eye sit in its socket as opposed to just sitting on the face. This has to do with the play of light and shadow on the lid plates and the lateral surface of the nose as it moves towards the caruncle. In the magazine, I said that if something's not working out, if something's just not going right and you're trying to repair it, you're trying to fix it, and in the end, usually it just gets worse. You have to learn to wipe it off and start again. And here's a great example of that. The flesh tones in both of those faces I wasn't happy with. They were both getting muddy, they were getting lost, there wasn't a lot of life in them. So instead of trying to repair them, I decided it was better off to just start again. So once again, working from large shapes to small, just as we did earlier, I begin breaking down the blocks of shadow and light. Once I've done that, I begin to blend these value blocks together, making the skin roll and undulate over the muscles and bone. I do this by lightly pulling my brush through the light and dark boundaries, allowing the colors to softly blend together. If I push too hard, I find the paint becomes muddy and uncontrollable, and I lose that softness, and thereby I lose the rotation of the flesh across the bone. At this point, I've definitely established a two-point lighting scheme for this piece. On the left side, you can see that there's a very cool light just skimming the side of their face, whereas on the right side, their primary face is illuminated by a much warmer light. And this gives the piece not just a more dramatic flair, but also allows the face to rotate more. It gives it more of a depth and more perspective. Feature by feature, I'm moving around the canvas, working on both faces, and I'm never really staying with one element too long. I'll work on an eye for a little bit, then I'll move to an ear, then I'll move to a nose. I never want to get stuck in one specific spot. I always want to keep the whole picture in my mind. So as you can see, we're moving around. On the left side, I've just established the boundaries of the face, the outline of the face. I'm also adjusting the lighting, paying attention to where the cool light hits and the warm lights and their transition around the skin. You can see that the lateral side of that nose, we've added some really nice cool lighting to get some dimension out of it. Also, right there on the outer canthus, right near there, you can see we've almost got a violet color. And this really helps to push those eyes into focus and helps the viewer understand how the flesh is all modeled. The face as a whole is pretty much done on the left. I'm going to work a little more on the right one. But at this point on that face, I'm just going to do a little bit of glazing. Glazing with a liquid helps me blend a little more finer, allows me to give a little glow You can see above her right eye now, there's this warm glow. It's the refraction of light as it hits that lower cheekbone and bounces up. And it just adds a little more realism. You see the shadow of the nose as it spills across her face. There's a warmth to that. And even when you think you're done, you'll, of course, come back later because you'll need to make some sort of adjustment. I mean, you'll constantly be adjusting this, but nothing major. At this point, you should be locked in. You're just wanting to now put in features like the hair, the figure on the right's goggles, other elements that really will help bring these characters to life. As you can see, the hair on the left side is now in, and it's done not by painting hair by hair. You don't want to do that. You just want to let the brush do the work for you. So you have your mixes of paint, you have all the colors you're going to need. You just gently pull those colors together without mixing and just stroke them on. Allow them to blend as they're being pulled across the scalp. And this gives you a nice soft effect, and it gives the illusion that there's a lot of hair and all you've really done is made 20 or 30 brush strokes and you're done. If you try and work it too much, you're going to blend it and it's not going to work. And now on the right you can see we're working on her goggles, and they may not seem too important, although they are an intrinsic part of her character, but we're also going to use these goggles to really reinforce the lighting that we've established, because these goggles are made of metal. So we can really take advantage of that material to help establish the two-point lighting system that I've chosen for this piece. So we're coming to the end here. We've got the faces about 95% complete. We'll of course come in later after the rest of the painting is completed and put in some highlights, some specular highlights, some maybe a little deeper shadow. We'll probably do this through glazing, but I'd say we're pretty much done here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. My name again is Edward Howard, and you can find more about me and some of my work at efhoward.com. Feel free to email me at edward@efhoward.com if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much.